It is the second elimination race of the 2025 Cup Series playoffs. It'll all go down tomorrow on USA. Marty Snyder, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton joining you here from the booth. Happy to have Kim Kuhn and Mamba Smith on pit road today. The Charlotte ROVAL. While it's a hometown race for all these race teams, this racetrack is not very hospitable, is it, Jeff? And as you look at the playoff standings, a lot will happen tomorrow as the playoff field will be cut from 12 to 8.
It's one of the most challenging racetracks on the circuit. Top four for sure. We look at the number of cautions in this racetrack. Guys just, not necessarily always running into each other, just making mistakes. Just look right here. Look at the blind corner. You have no idea where you are until you get to the corner. Just an example of the elevation changes in this racetrack. And look at this left-hander. I mean, it is 180 degrees. Great passing opportunity right there.
Yeah, the ROVAL itself is basically a combination of an infield section and now back on the banking with two chicanes, a backstretch chicane and a front stretch chicane. We're heading down to the backstretch chicane now. Fastest section of the racetrack, a little over 155 miles an hour right here into the heavy braking zone. Sharper entry than exit, so a tough left, a tough back to the right, and then a wide exit here, Jeff, as we come back through what is 3 and 4 of the oval, back to the front stretch chicane.
Yeah, for today, right here is the alternate start-finish line. That'll be where the lap time starts. Yeah, watch this.
Really.
Watch how sharp this is. Big curves on the left. Gonna hang. This is a. Watch this right here. Look how downhill from here to here this is, and you start climbing the hill. A very tight left-hander with a lot of banking in it. Now you're going downhill, an exceptional downhill run, which makes hitting that corner really difficult.
And that is a lap at the ROVAL, everyone. So, Steve, as you look at the playoff standings, left-hand side of your screen, kind of who is safe and who's in must-win territory, in your opinion?
I feel good from Byron up. I think Briscoe and Logano, Chastain are all in a points battle for the last spot, and I think from Wallace on down that they really think it's going to be a must-win. The problem I have for Reddick, if Reddick was the first car out at 29, I think it's a tall task, but only beating one car is a little bit more feasible. But to think he has to get 29 points on Logano while also outrunning Wallace and Chastain just makes it a harder mathematical equation. And Cindric, I think it's checkered flag or bust for the driver of the two.
Watch the 54, Ty Gibbs. Let's see what he does on the exit. Some drivers will run the apron of the racetrack. See how low he is? There's more grip there. You'll see in qualifying, some drivers will try to just shortcut this, make it as short as they can. That was the start-finish line, a 1:26.6 for Gibbs.
And you'll notice the pink window nets on every car this weekend. Of course, obviously, it is October, so Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and certainly honoring the millions of families impacted by that. I love what Christopher Bell said earlier this week. He said, I think it's one of the coolest things we do all year long, just to let folks, hey, no, we're thinking about you, families that have been impacted by breast cancer, and their families either losing someone or going through the battle right now. So the pink window net's on every car this weekend.
At 126 is reasonably off the pace from what we've seen here in the past, but that was kind of expected. Talking in the garage, I saw it 2.5, even 3 seconds slower than what we've seen. This is the same Goodyear tire we've seen at most of the road courses, and everywhere we've gone, it's just been slow. It doesn't really do anything great. It doesn't want to stop. It doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to take off.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great challenge for the teams. It's entertaining to watch, but it definitely results in a slower lap time.
Tell you what, Jeff, if you're thinking about non-playoff drivers who could win this race, I think everybody thinks Shane Van Gisbergen, but how about A.J. Allmendinger? He could pull it off tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, 3 road course wins and 48 starts. He's really good at what he does. And that was a huge day for Colleague. Look at the emotion. It's such a big deal to win a Cup race.
He is exceptional here at the ROVAL, too. I think at one point won 4 straight Xfinity Series races here at the ROVAL. So not only one on the Cup side, won plenty on the Xfinity Series side as well. And Steve, I think this Colleague group has shown more pace overall. Talked with that about AJ earlier in the week. They've shown more pace on Saturdays. They're bringing quicker race cars, but I would argue also at the road courses, kind of taken a step up as the road course season has gone on.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a curve. When they first came out of the box, they had great speed. Then I thought they lost some of it in recent years. But I agree, Marty. I think here in the last few road courses, they're giving this road course specialist. AJ is so good at the road course. It's just something to kind of fight with. SVG has definitely kind of masked that for everyone, but he's been right there.
Oh, wow.
Big hit for the 35 of Riley Herbst.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, that's over there. That's kind of on the combination of 5 and 6, that area we talked about. So that's after the right-hander 5 up the hill. So he must have got drivers left out of 5 is all I can figure. Track's still green.
I'm surprised that car is still rolling, Steve, as high as it climbed on the wall.
Man, look at it. It's actually from the outside not damaged as much as you would think. Let's look at this right side. I mean, it's beat up, but it's not by any means destroyed. I'm sure the tires aren't pointed in the right direction.
You want to question whether or not this new next-gen car is tough. That's a good answer for it, isn't it?
First start here on a road course on the ROVAL in a cup car for Riley.
It was the right-hander turn 5 that gets him in trouble. So about the middle of the infield. This is turn 5, carrying a lot of speed, just loose. And he's going to run out of real estate very quickly. And you're going to see him kind of come into the picture. So while it did climb, it was a little bit of a glancing blow. Here you go.
Well, those are tire barriers.
Right.
Right?
Kind of compresses, it becomes a ramp.
Yeah. So maybe because it did climb the wall and it's the tire barrier, maybe not a lot of damage here. Not as much as we initially thought.
Well, there you see the result.
Didn't help it.
Riley bringing it back to pit road. Certainly didn't help the cosmetics on the Monster Energy Toyota Camry, did it?
It's a good example, though. You know, just cup car, first time here, and just going out and learning this racetrack. It is, I don't know, with just such limited practice, it is a very difficult racetrack for a guy with limited experience with this car on this track. It just compounds.
Riley Herbst surviving an early one here at the ROVAL.
At the midway point of turn number 8, the left side of these cars will ride that white line all the way through turn number 8, and then turn number 9 where they'll be greeted by the longest portion, this back straightaway, which they'll make their way about halfway down through, as Josh Berry does right now. And at that halfway portion, at about the 300-foot marker, as Josh Berry blows through this portion of the course, we call it the chicane, which is turns 10, 11, and 12. Really a very important part of this course for these drivers. They have to understand what type of braking they have, how late they can brake into this turn. But to Pat Patterson's notion, you have to be able to carry that momentum through this chicane, a very important portion of this course. And as they hit turn number 10, we'll come to the view of Andrew Curlin. Andrew, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm stationed high atop the NASCAR Oval Turn 4 grandstands, which is turn 14 today. I'll be covering the cars, as you mentioned, as they come through that chicane, down the back straightaway and downshift from 5th to 2nd into the very technical backstretch chicane, which is turns 10, 11, and 12. The left, right, left combination of corners have been historically chaotic in years past, even in practice and qualifying. Cars have been squirmy and out of control. Blue curbs are on the driver's left on entry in turn 10, and driver's right as you advance through 11. If you hit the curbs wrong, you're in store for a wild ride. You could find 2 tires off of the ground. Now, if you make it through this section safe, you'll climb the 24 degrees of banking that are the oval portion of the racetrack. And unlike when we were here in May, there is only one dominant line, and that's right against the blue and white stripe line along the low end of the racetrack. Talking to drivers today, you want to get your left Goodyears right up against that line, gives you a little bit of extra grip. You'll finish your time qualifying lap at the alternate start finish line in the middle of turns 13 and 14. The sun is out. It'll be hot and slick with hopefully lots of excitement as teams prepare their setups and finalize everything for an elimination race tomorrow. My section, it's the biggest change in sensation of speed. 5th gear down to 2nd, all the way back up to 5th before we go back into the eyes of the booth, guys.
And once they come off the banking on the north end of the racetrack, they're going to point that car just slightly left because that's when we get to the front stretch chicane. This is a set of corners. Turn 15, well, that's just a slight bend to the left. They'll actually hug that right on the AstroTurf grass that we have here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they'll try and set it up for a wide angle of turn 16. That is a hard right-hand corner before they make the final corner, turn 17, another hard corner, and then it's a quick drag race to the start-finish line before they go through another lap. That's what it takes to get around the 17 turns here of the Charlotte Motor Speedway ROVAL. And Alan Cavana down on pit road, we know some of these sections of racetrack can be treacherous, just like Riley Herbst found out a while ago.
And they've been working on it ever since they shut the engine off, just trying to make sure everything wasn't too knocked out of alignment. He said the steering wheel's straight, but they're putting a lot of work, especially on the front, to make sure that those tires are pointed in the correct direction that they want them to be. All the damage, very cosmetic on the outside. The entire right side of that number 35 Toyota is all scraped up. Remember, this is a matte black race car. The side of it is all white now, just to give you an idea of how much and how hard that car hit. So a tough start for the rookie driver here in the number 35 of Riley Herbst.
All right, there you go. So Riley Herbst, the first victim of the Charlotte Motor Speedway ROVAL. Right now, A.J. Allmendinger is the fastest. He's the only driver with top 10 finishes in all next-gen races here at the ROVAL, and he won this race in 2023. Ty Gibbs is second quick. Daniel Suarez third. Kyle Busch is fourth. Rounding out the top 5 is Zane Smith. This is Group 1, their practice session here at the ROVAL.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Hi, I'm Kyle Petty, and I want to tell you about a place that's near and dear to my heart, Victory Junction. It's a year-round camp that gives kids with complex medical and physical conditions life-changing.
Complicated, but I actually think Denny did a good job of explaining it. When I'm driving the 11 car, I drive for Joe Gibbs. I drive for all those sponsors, all the crew members. We deserve a chance to go win races. And if I don't put that effort out, then I'm not doing my job. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I also agree that if you are Bubba Wallace and anybody uses you up like that, coming to get the green, I'm going to be mad. And it is an expectation, maybe unrealistic expectation, from teammates that they drive each other differently. We just heard that in New Hampshire, right? You're my teammate. You shouldn't be holding me up. He wouldn't have asked that of anyone other than a teammate. Teammates make things complicated. So I love the fact that Denny said, I'm going to drive the 11. I love the fact that Denny's okay with his drivers driving him the same way he drove them. I'm good with all that. I do think the only apology should be, hey, man, I put you in a spot that I shouldn't have put you in as a race car driver to race car driver. You got running the wall, and I don't blame you for being mad at me. But having said all that, Steve, it can't be a one-way street. And if a 2311 driver needs to move the driver of the 11, I don't want to hear about it, right? It can't be a one-way street. It has to be driver to driver. And I believe when Denny says it, that's what he believes should happen, and it will. There will be a day where Denny is the car owner and something bad happens, and he will have to take the same stance he took when he was the one that made the mistake.
And
racing happens.
Denny was very vocal. I'm not going to apologize. Well, that's my job. I'm doing my job.
It wasn't going to apologize about racing his car the way he raced it. He did say, I should have done something different in regard to both of them, neither one of them win. He did say that in full context. Our fans, let's be clear, and I'm not talking bad about any other form of racing. Steve mentioned teammates. Our fans don't want to see teammates giving up spots, not racing each other hard. They don't want to see that. That's not what NASCAR racing was built on. So I believe that Denny is right in regard to he should drive his car like the driver of the 11 should drive his car. he shouldn't worry about Bubba Wallace because he drives to 2311.
Yeah, and the context matters because I believe that the trophy should lead everything. And, you know, at lap 100 of a 400-mile race is different than the last corner coming to the checkered. Now, only the drivers can decide what's acceptable. I've said this for years. It's up to those guys on the racetrack. Jeff and his group decided in their era. I got my vote, but I was never a driver. Even when I was a crew chief, it was up to the drivers. But I think that, in my mind, what is most important is winning races. And if you do that, and that's like the North Star, then a lot of other things fix themselves.
I agree with that, but the one thing that makes it complicated is that Denny Hamlin at New Hampshire would not have been screaming to get help if the driver he was trying to pass was a Hendrick car.
Very fair point.
He wanted the help because he was a teammate. So it's not as easy. Having teammates is complicated. He wanted help because it was a teammate. He expected help because it was a teammate. He would not have expected that help if it was a Hendrick Motorsport driver.
And speaking of teammates, riding on board with Ty Gibbs, let's bring Kim Kuhn into this conversation. Kim, what do you know?
Well, Denny did exactly what the 11 team expected of him. I spent time with crew chief Chris Gale this morning in the garage, and he was very complimentary of his driver. His abilities really to compartmentalize the 11 team stuff from his team owner stuff over at 2311. He said he's always very focused, never distracted when it comes to the race week. And he even said, as we look at our priorities, it's JGR first, then the 11 car. That's the model they stick to. 2311 is not even on their radar on race day, so they're not thinking about 2311. So their driver shouldn't be thinking about him either as a team owner.
Oh, teammates. And you get even further complex with owners and drivers as well. But yeah, certainly something, and it's going to be a topic of conversation for the rest of these playoffs. Ty Gibbs, second quickest, by the way. Carson Hocevar is 6th fastest overall, one of the many cars that has a breast cancer awareness paint scheme tint to it. But last week at Kansas, interesting moment for Carson Hocevar. First a spin, Jeff. This happens late in the race in stage 3.
Yeah, gets up the racetrack and looks like he got kind of moved out of the way after he slid up in front, spins his tires, and now he's dead in the water. Tires are flat. Look at the rear tires.
Yeah, and that's not just a slow idle. At some point, they really spin up. There's a wrecker in front. There's safety workers around there. So he's not only 6th quick, but he's $50,000 lighter this week after being fined by NASCAR. And I have to agree 100% with NASCAR. We could talk about what drivers do on the racetrack, but my tolerance on pit road and around safety workers is very, very, very small. Around safety workers, it's about a 0 tolerance. And what I mean by that is it's become very complicated. These cars get flat tires they don't want to drive. But Jeff, I believe once a wrecker's in front of you and there's safety workers around you, your chance to move is over. Letting the foot off the clutch and spinning those rear. What happens if the car moves forward? What's it done? It hit the wrecker, hits a safety worker? Like, I understand the emotion and the frustration, but at some point it has to be a sport. And these men and women of the safety workers and all the people that go out there, they're putting themselves in harm's way to try to help you as a driver. I think you have an obligation of respect, and I think that crossed the line, and I think the fine is fair.
Yeah, I agree. You just cannot do things like that around safety workers. You may be at home saying, well, he barely spun the tires, but Steve's point's exactly correct. What if the car moved, right? And you just cannot have it. We cannot ask safety workers to risk themselves, their danger, to assist the drivers from a medical standpoint or get the cars back to the pits. They deserve to be safe.
Just over 6 minutes left here for group number 1. The playoff cars coming up in Group B in just a moment. The Turtles here at the ROVAL. Always something the drivers try to push the limits with here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back with more on True TV.
Happening here around the racetrack. Let's see if we can pick up some more play-by-play. Group 1 practice still has 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. In fact, Mark, we got some good racing coming here into the front stretch chicane.
As they work their way in front of us, we'll try to pick up those cars. We're trying to figure out who that is. That, I believe, is Priest. Yeah, Ryan Priest. to the inside.
Ryan Preece, he's dived to the inside of Ty Dillon, makes the pass in turn number 1. That's a great spot to make passes. Now those drivers bend those cars to the left at turn number 2. Ryan Preece hard on the brakes. Mark James for turn 3.
Ricky Stenhouse running well in front of them. That car blends in nicely with that red, white, and blue paint scheme through this Bank of America portion of the road course, the ROVAL. Here's Ryan Preece. He's back into the throttle now and works his way up the hill to turn number 5.
And then down the hill into turn 6. Ryan Preece with a couple of stage wins on strategy at road courses this year. Gets smoothly through that corner with Ty Dillon in tow as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. exits turn 7. Preece will get there cleanly, as will Ty Dillon. Looks like he just barely tags that tire pack, Michael Young.
Yeah, Ryan Preece able to get a good launch out of turn number 7. Will gap himself over Austin Dillon by about 10 car lengths. They'll make their way through turn number 9 and then hit this back straightaway. Ryan Preece will be first to turn number 10 with Austin Dillon in tow.
Ryan Preece slowing his machine all the way down to second gear, pickpocketing his way through that chicane. Now he'll hug the apron for as long as he can, makes his way up to the 24 degrees of banking where he straddles that blue and white line out of 14.
As they come out of the high bank, it's still a little bit of a left-hand turn. Of course, that's 15. You see a big, long black streak right along the grass area there, the AstroTurf. That's that left side tire just screaming, getting on the brakes as they try to come back to the right.
Pretty amazing how slowing a car down but not locking anything up can just lay a bunch of rubber on the racetrack right there in that section. And it's incredible, Pat, to watch this section again coming on to you got to really be hard on the binders. They're getting up to 170 miles per hour or so up on the banking on the north end of the racetrack. And then they've got to woe that onto what is almost a first gear corner, how drivers either make it or they just flat out don't.
Well, and you're talking about preparing yourself for what the passing zones are going to be. The bottom line is that I need to know how far I can charge down here, even if I lock one of the tires up, because that may be the opportunity I've got to outbrake somebody into the corner. This one right here is critical. Why? Well, look where the start-finish line is, you know. I want to know how hard I can go into this corner and still make the corner. Sometimes I'm going to cross over the edge. When's the right time to do that? Right now in practice.
And if somebody tries to make the pass, you get inside them in that 16th turn. You can hip check them off the racetrack so they miss the 17th turn, the left-hander, and then they've got to stop, right?
Sure,
so
absolutely.
I've seen a couple of guys get in there and just, again, reminds me of an ice hockey hip check, and then they're off the track.
And we do this qualifying thing, and you look at from the top to the bottom, and you go, wow, man, all these cars are so close to each other, but that's not the way they race, and that's not going to be the way the race is. Half of the field is going to be a half a second slower than the guys that are pacing the field. And you got to get around them, and that means I got to pass a lot of them in and out of these two chicane areas, front and back stretch.
Pretty wild to see what's going on out here on the racetrack. Alan Cavana, what's happening down on pit road?
Well, I was just watching the 54 car of Ty Gibbs. He got out his car a few minutes ago. His practice for them is about to come to the end. Second on the board overall as the run went on longer. It seems like they had good speed compared to the practice cars that are out there right now. But overall, the assessment from the team is that it's just far too loose out there on the racetrack for Ty Gibbs right now, so they're going to make an adjustment. What I observed, though, is that Ty Gibbs hopped right out of the car, didn't talk to his own team immediately. He went right over to his teammate Chase Briscoe, who was ready and waiting to absorb some of that information that Ty Gibbs just learned. They had a long chat, just a breakdown of what Ty Gibbs learned out there. You could see that he was trying to help his other teammates that they're going for that championship in this next group in practice, trying to get as much knowledge out there before they hit the track. So a long breakdown, a lot of communication there between Ty Gibbs and his teammate Chase Briscoe.
So they're going to make some adjustments to Ty Gibbs. Second fastest lap overall, the best 5-lap average, the best 10-lap average. I can't believe that those changes are going to be too big.
Couple interesting storylines. Ty Gibbs, one of the faster cars when we were in Mexico City, the second road course weekend that we had this year. He was about the only one that could keep up with Shane Van Gisbergen, and obviously he is continuing with road course speed. A.J. Allmendinger, you contrast that. Road courses this year have almost been awful for A.J. Allmendinger, and that comes out of his mouth. Admittedly as well, the results haven't been there. There is something about the ROVAL, however. He won 4 consecutive Xfinity Series races here. He won the Cup race here in 2023. Now he's at the top of the board. This is only the first half of the field here in Group Number 1, Mark. But there is something about this circuit and this layout for A.J. Allmendinger that agrees with him in any moment.
Certainly matches up well. I will never forget, Pat, how about that Xfinity race he won in almost total darkness. They didn't have enough lights, and the infield didn't figure the race was going to go into the darkness. And in the rain, in the darkness, the fog, he was able to win that race.
That was pretty crazy. I never thought they would have gotten to the conclusion that they did that day. You know, you're talking about Ty Gibbs, and you know, he just came off the racetrack, went straight to Chase Briscoe. Well, I mean, the Denny was only two more cars down. He didn't try to go over to Denny.
I bet he stopped by just to say hello.
Maybe he thought Chase would go and
that's it. Yeah. A chain text.
Curious, you know.
Group 1 practice is over. A.J. Allmendinger the fastest, followed by Ty Gibbs second. Daniel Suarez, who will join us for today's Xfinity broadcast, third quick. Kyle Busch fourth. Then Zane Smith rounds out the top 5. Carson Hocevar was sixth. Justin Haley seventh. Eighth was Noah Gragson. John Hunter Nemechek ninth. Ty Dillon rounded out the top 10.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive. As you might imagine, I know a thing or two about cars, and I'm here to tell you about a whole new way to buy a car, truck, or SUV. Did you know that Echo Park Automotive has over 95,000 five-star reviews? On top of that, every car that Echo Park Automotive sells goes through a 190-point inspection to make sure that it looks and drives like new, so you leave happy. It's even in their name. Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car dealer of Speedway Motorsports.
Hi, it's PRN's Brad Gilley. Did you know you could take PRN with you anywhere?
Around the intended corner. We'll see how long this one stays here. There's a good chance it can get moved out into traffic at some point.
Steve, what I would also say, if you look at the inside of that tire pack and go all the way out to the Great Care sign, that is wide. There is room.
In here, from here, you mean? From here to here.
You could go 7 wide in there, 6 wide in there. So there's places to go. You know, if they get bottled up, there's a wreck on the bottom. That is a very wide area of the racetrack.
No doubt those tire packs are self-policing, if you will. Certainly don't want to run into them. Well, this weekend is all about cutting the playoff field from 12 down to 8. That'll happen Sunday afternoon on USA. Who makes the final 8 to vie for the Cup Series championship in 2025? It's down to these drivers. We'll find out tomorrow afternoon. And it all will go down here at the ROVAL at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
The darkness of bipolar depression.
Wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to
Verse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Welcome back to the ROVAL here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Up in the booth, Brad Gilley along with Pat Patterson and Mark Garrow. Group 1 practice is over. Group 2 is going to go out for their 25-minute session. And then each of the two groups will have 20-minute sessions for their qualifying. That's going to be coming up here shortly. A little bit later on today, we have the NASCAR Xfinity Series Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina 250. That broadcast is going to be at 4:30 Eastern Time. Daniel Suarez will join us up in the booth for that. Of course, when it comes to Xfinity prowess, when it comes to road course prowess, Suarez is pretty talented. He won earlier this year in Mexico City. A very exciting race day out there to see him be able to win in his home country, Pat.
Two things. Are you going down? Well, let's go down to Alan Cavano right now. Go ahead, Alan.
I'm with A.J. Allmendinger. Fastest in that practice. Fastest, but it doesn't sound like it was perfect by any means. What was it like out there?
I don't know how to explain this. It's so different. I don't know. Just this tire combo here. And it's the same tire we ran, I think, throughout the road course, but it is like an ice rink out there, and you're just kind of hanging on, doing everything you can to try not to spin the tires. So mine felt awful, so and we were decently quick. I don't know about on the long run pace there, but definitely one lap. But yeah, I mean, it's a good 3 to 4 seconds off of what we thought it would be. So Celsius Chevy's at least quick for one lap, and I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely different.
Given that there's such high speeds and then slow braking zones, where is the toughest part on a track like this?
Anytime you got to touch the throttle or turn the steering wheel right now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
AJ trying to figure it out. Fast for one lap. Got to see what he can do for qualifying with it. Yeah, and AJ said something really interesting. Talking about it just being so sensitive. Brad, it's 75 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't been on a road course when it was this cool all year. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that, remember that Goodyear and they're the best people in the world when it comes to trying to figure this stuff out. But a couple 3 degrees makes all the difference in the world in the way these cars are going to handle. And that means, quite simply, tomorrow afternoon, if we have a 5-degree difference, we can have a completely different racetrack here out there this afternoon, and it's all based on ambient temperature. That's what heats up the track. Track doesn't get the temperature they're looking for, and you could have something like what he's talking about, which is a skating rink.
And right now the sun is shining here. It is it's partly cloudy. Like there's a lot of Carolina blue sky, there are a lot of puffy clouds. Tomorrow is supposed to be a little more cloudy, but a beautiful day as well. Without the sun beating on the racetrack, that's going to have a drastic effect on track temperature as well, to your point, Pat.
2 things jumped off the sheet at me, Mark Garrow, that after looking at the first group and how they practice. Bowman and how slow he was. Zane Smith and how fast he was. 2 guys right there that you just kind of jumped off that page at you when it comes. I don't know if it'll go down to qualifying or not. Let's go down to Alan Cavana.
Third on the board for Daniel Suarez. I'm with him now. We know what the speed chart says. How did it feel in your car?
Honestly, it felt worse. Than what lap time shows. I'm not super happy with my car, but I guess everyone is struggling. This is a new tire, so this is something new for everyone. I feel like if we can work on the balance a little bit more, I think we're gonna be decent. But so far, the lap times are looking better than the field.
You told me before practice, getting into turn 1, that can be a treacherous area. What other parts did you find difficult?
Maybe from corner 1 to 17. Yeah, just strolling with grip. Lacking front for the first lap or 2, and then lacking rear after that. Just struggling a little bit, but everyone else is struggling probably even more. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a quite different race than what we have seen here in the past.
All right, Daniel Suarez happy with the lap time, but looking for grip just like AJ Allmendinger was. Guys, these are some of the best road course racers we have in the series, and they're mystified right now as to the grip level out there.
Man, great stuff, Alan. I love that. The problem is between corner 1 and corner 17. So looking forward to having Suarez join us for the Xfinity broadcast coming up later on today. We'll come back. Group 2 set to go out for their practice session here at the ROVAL at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Hey, Joey Logano here. My pit stop's outside of the track.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it to be that slick. I was kind of shocked. I ran my first lap, and I was like, wow, that is quite awful. You're terrible. And I looked up at the board, and I was like, oh, P1, that's interesting. So, well, we're going to go do some studying here. If it's like this tomorrow, it's going to be crazy to watch. So everybody at home, you're going to have fun watching. I don't know if we'll have fun.
Steve, it sounds like these crew chiefs are going to have their hands full with this tire.
Oh, they're going to have hands full because there's 2 issues. Not only does it drive bad, but it falls off. Let's talk about this. On the left-hand side is the lap time. You see 86 to 94, and then lap 1 out to lap 13. So first, let's literally just talk right here. Normally we see about an 84-second lap in practice. That's an 86.5, 2.5 seconds slower on their fastest lap. And then from lap 1 out to lap 12, we are looking at nearly 5 seconds of fall off. Oh. 5 seconds in 12 laps is going to be unbelievable. It can't feel good from behind the wheel. Now, look, I think that goes away when you're kind of all out there on the same tires and the guy in front of you is slowing down like you are. Jeff has this big smile on his face because he can't wait to see these guys slip and slide all afternoon.
Man. That's what we've been asking for.
Oh, they got it. They got it.
Oh, boy, the first cutoff race at Bristol was wild from the tire side, but a fantastic race. Could we see the same thing tomorrow here at the ROVAL? Group B will answer some questions coming up next.
Toyota on the inside with Bubba Wallace. He cuts down to the apron.
A South Point 400, Sunday, October 12th at 4. An NASCAR Xfinity Series heads to Vegas.
Jesse Love goes and cuts down in front of Josh Williams. There's Austin Hill, cannot get the outside line going.
Now he drives up beside Jesse Love. Sam Mayer is going to lead that lap as the pack heads back to one.
Ryan Sieg moving all over the racetrack, upside, downside.
It's the Focus Tell 302, Saturday, October 11th at 7 Eastern on PRN.
Welcome back to the ROVAL here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Practice for the Bank of America ROVAL 400. Group 1 has gone out. Group 2, which does include all of our 12 playoffs drivers, are about to go out as well. A.J. Allmendinger led Group 1. Ty Gibbs was second quick, followed by Daniel Suarez. Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, the top 5. 6 was Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley 7th. 8th, Noah Gragson, John Hunter Nemechek 9th, Ty Dillon 10th.
11th was Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Austin Dillon 12th. 13th, Alex Bowman, Josh Berry 14th. 15th, Ryan Preece, Riley Herb 16th, Cole Custer 17th, Josh Bilicki 18th, 19th, Cody Ware.
Alongside Pat Patterson and Mark Garrow, my name is Brad Gilley. We'll get you some play-by-play as these cars are just now going out onto the racetrack. But another reminder, this weekend, it's a cutoff race. Currently 12 drivers in playoffs contention. And when we leave here tomorrow afternoon, there will be down to 8. Right now, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney have won their way through to the round of 8. Plus 54 points is Kyle Larson. At plus 48, you have Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell plus 44. William Byron plus 40. They're in a pretty good spot. Plus 21 is Chase Briscoe. Plus 13, reigning champion Joey Logano. Minus 13, Ross Chastain. That's going to be tough to make up that many points on the racetrack. Bubba Wallace minus 26. Tyler Reddick minus 29. Austin Cindric minus 48.
Pat, as I look at it, Wallace, Reddick, Cindric, they've got to win. I don't know how you make up 26-29 in 48 points.
No, I agree with you. It's unless, of course, we can turn the apple cart totally over, with the guys that are in front of them. But no, I agree with that. I think it's going to take a checkered flag.
And Ross Chastain, 13, that's doable, right? You get some stage points, that's doable. But I think the fly in the ointment completely is Shane Van Gisbergen, right? Because he has been the dominator on the road courses this year, and he's got nothing to lose, everything to gain to go out there and do it again.
And we're about to find out, because I honestly believe that there may be a big difference between the practice speeds in that first group and what we're getting ready to see with this group. So let's check it out and see kind of where this bunch is versus that first group that was out.
Let's pick up our defending race winner. Kyle Larson's picked up 2 trophies from the Bank of America ROVAL 400. He heads to 1.
Yeah, it was a trio of Hendrick Motorsports cars leading him off of pit lane. Kyle Larson, the first one to pop into my view, sliding his way through turn number 2. William Byron, Chase Elliott giving chase as Kyle Larson sets up for the right-hander of 3.
Pretty good separation between those 3. Good to get a lap in at pace here. Kyle Larson sees it whittle ever so slightly at the exit of turn number 4. William Byron giving chase. They all work their way up the right-hander. Chase Elliott, the caboose of that train, as they crest the hill in turn number 5.
Read into what you wish, but Larson's gapped him a little bit through that infield stretch as he's on the binders hard and down to first gear, points straight off of turn 7, and then it's several car lengths back to William Byron, who's pulling Chase Elliott, last week's winner, right behind.
Yeah, Kyle Larson trying to find a little momentum here at the end of this season, makes his way through turn number 9, has about a 15 car length advantage, maybe even more so as he sets up for turn number 10 as he's got William Byron right behind him, also the machine of Chase Elliott. They make their way through the chicane.
Let's pick up William Byron and Chase Elliott. William Byron's left side Goodyear's now hit the 24 degrees of banking. A few car lengths behind him is Chase Elliott in a bright green Chevrolet as he grips the bottom of the racetrack off of 14.
So Kyle Larson has completed his first lap. It is 13th quick overall. And as we look on the racetrack, Andrew, I'm picking up now SVG in the back chicane, followed by Bubba Wallace and Ross Chastain.
Yeah, SVG, one of the best to do it on road courses right now, is about half a foot off of the banking. Right behind him, Bubba Wallace, who's in much need of a win this weekend at the ROVAL.
Shane Van Gisbergen getting those tires up to temperature. That first lap for him was 21st quick, but but this is going to be a good hot one. Being chased closely by the white and purple car of Bubba Wallace and the Busch Light Chevrolet of Ross Chastain.
Boy, it's just fun to watch Shane Van Gisbergen throw a race car around the road course like the ROVAL. Nice and smooth through turn number 2. Swings it out towards the outside wall, then swings it back to the left. Gets a nice angle into turn 3 for Shane Van Gisbergen.
No question that early on in this particular grouping, the activity much greater. Lots of track activity early on in this practice session as Shane Van Gisbergen slides it up the hill towards turn number 5. Little Crest, he stays on that red-white curving duck curve over the far left.
Which swings him out through turn number 6, the blind right-hander. Now the Kiwi on the brakes, Shane Van Gisbergen, but very smoothly. No surprise here for this road racing ace as he pulls Bubba Wallace and Ross Chastain with him into turn 8, Michael Young.
Yep, Van Gisbergen works his way up through the gears. Good learning point for Bubba Wallace. He's about 10 car lengths behind, watching the line of Shane Van Gisbergen. The road course ace makes his way down that back straightaway. He sets up for turn 10, Bubba Wallace and Ross Chastain in tow.
Bubba Wallace, a guy who needs anything he can get when it comes to road course racing. Right now stalking one of the best in Shane Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen now straddles the white and blue line as he screams into 13 and off of 14.
So Shane Van Gisbergen leading that trio, but when you look at the scoring, only 17th quickest. Lap 1, 23rd. He moved up to 17th on lap 2.
Mark, Ross Chastain was one of the 2 drivers chasing Shane Van Gisbergen. He actually had a lap time quicker than Shane Van Gisbergen. One thing he told us in the playoffs media day that we had before the playoffs even started, I'm going to have my car set up exactly like Shane Van Gisbergen. I did it at Watkins Glen. I was able to kind of keep pace with him up until the final stage. Then he drove off to the win, and I finished 10th. He spent a lot of time, Chastain, in the simulator trying to learn Shane Van Gisbergen's driving style. That's something not a lot of drivers are willing to do because they've been doing this long enough that they have their left and right foot pedal work kind of set in stone. That's what they do. Van Gisbergen's is different than every other driver in the way that he works the throttle, the brake, and the clutch. Chastain, I admire him for trying to try something new that works.
Pat, how many times we've seen a young driver going through some teething problems and trying to, catch up to a faster teammate? And I remember Kevin Harvick telling one teammate, and I'll leave the name out, going like, you're improving and you're going to get better and you're going to be a winner, you can be all that, but I'm still got a 20-year head start on you, and I'm not standing still.
Well, and I think it's always important to point out, and I know you guys have said this as well, I'm not sure what Shane Van Gisbergen right at this minute is working on. I'm really not sure. He's not necessarily trying to run the fastest lap he can run. That's called qualifying. What he's trying to do right now is to see what kind of a consistent time he can get going around this racetrack. And I think that that's what he needs to work on more than anything else. I'm not going to read too much into his time versus like where Allmendinger's at this moment. But as far as you're talking about, the best way to learn sometimes for a lot of guys is visually. And you do that by following somebody that's really good, and he's really good.
Let's go down to Alan Cavana. What can you add to this, Alan?
It's been in terms of what SVG and the plan was. I talked to his crew chief, Stephen Doran, before practice, and he says, look, ideally, we go out there, we run straight through this entire practice, hopefully get a 15-lap run to test our consistency, to see how we are on that long run. There's no doubt about Shane's talent, right? There's no doubt about what Shane can do out there on the racetrack, but they want to make sure they get the setup and have that long run consistency everybody's looking for. That was the plan, at least going in.
Ross Chastain just passed Bubba Wallace in turn number 7. He is pulled away from Wallace. See if he can chase down his Trackhouse racing teammate, SVG.
Going to be interesting for Chastain as he exits the chicane, Andrew.
Yeah, Ross Chastain beginning to gap Bubba Wallace as he's starting to put some real estate between he and the 2311.
Kansas was on me. I put myself in bad situations, but I really felt like, and it was nice to feel like we had winning speed again in the 5 car where we could run up front with those Toyotas.
Yeah, I think the big concern with this car is where has all that speed gone? Since the early part of the year, they had a lot of speed. They have been looking for it since the middle of May, late May. It just hasn't been there. And as the playoffs go further and further, you're going to have speed. I don't think you're going to be able to, consistent your way. You're going to have to be able to run in the front. And for Larson and this group, they just hadn't had what they wanted, so that had to feel good for them.
When it comes to road courses this year, nobody scored more points at the road courses than Christopher Bell, and here he is early in Group B, 9th quickest, 2nd fastest in this group, Steve. I don't think we should be surprised if Bell winds up being in contention tomorrow afternoon.
Absolutely. I think for sure if it's a tire conservation and you lose a lot of grip, that just strikes me in the Larson, the Bell category. These guys have so much car control, a little bit of that dirt racing. They just understand how to run a lot of part throttle, short shift, which means, you know, you go up a gear before the car really needs it, keep the acceleration rate down to save those rear tires. I think all of that falls into the Christopher Bell wheelhouse.
I would say Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson of the playoff guys right now on lap 4. I feel like they probably have the 2 best cars. But with the tire fall off that we saw in the first session, having a good car in 4 laps may not be good in 15. We'll have to see where it goes. But right now, those 2 cars are really good. SVG, shocking. He's
Bell running a special paint scheme this weekend. DeWalt in partnership with St. Jude's Children's Hospital. He's going to be auctioning his helmet off after the race if you want to get involved in that. Kim, you have more?
Yeah, as we look at Christopher Bell, you know, Jeff said Bell and Byron look maybe the best of the playoff cars out here. They're also some of the best of the playoff cars in terms of how they come into this race points-wise. Christopher plus 44, and I had a fun conversation with Adam Stevens this morning where he said, look, I would never use the word safe when you come to the ROVAL points-wise because you just never know. But there is a high level of comfort this team has. Their points position puts them in a place where they can try and go for the win if they have the cars. So expect maybe some more aggressive strategy from them tomorrow.
I would say they'll play it pretty aggressive, Kim, considering their points position. I think the man they're all going to be chasing, Steve, is Shane Van Gisbergen, however. I mean, obviously going for his 5th straight road course win, and SVG just been so good on these road courses this year. Almost effortless, he makes it look.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what he's done so much of his life. Back to Kim's point, I think if you're Bell at 44 above, if you can score 6 or 7 stage points in the first stage, you can take the pressure off the rest of the race, kind of guarantee your advancement. That would be my move, I think, if I'm the 20 car. And to SVG, I mean, look, this is what he does. This is what he's done growing up. It's what he's driven his entire life, is this style of car and this style of track, and he does make it look relatively effortless. I'm interested to see how his tire conservation is. I imagine it to be very, very patient. He's always been very patient behind the wheel of one of these things, Mamba.
Yeah, that's right. What happens with the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen is really important when you look at the 1 of Ross Chastain. I talked to Ross before practice, and he said his setup is very similar to the 88. He said that he tries in the simulator to mimic everything that Shane is doing and just trying to learn and be a sponge. And I'm like, well, why is that? Because can you really do that? Your driving style is different. He's like, yeah, but he's the best. So if I want to be like the best, then I need to learn from the best. And that's what Ross is trying to do. And right now, guys, he's 16, SVG 17, so it looks like it's working out for Trackhouse.
Chastain's 5th lap is 28.40. That's right there. SVG at 28 flat, so 4/10 of a second off. Another car that has a lot of speed right now is William Byron. I would say on the 6th lap, he's right there, just a little bit off of SVG, but really good pace. Problem best right now is Larson on his 6th lap, but William did something a little bit differently. He didn't lay a lap time down. Like, he ran, his best lap was a 27.94. He ran that about 4 laps ago also, almost duplicated that lap. So I wonder, Steve, if he didn't roll off and not try to abuse the tires.
He listened to you, Steve.
Well, but here's the only problem. That works on a green flag pit stop, but it doesn't work on a restart because you're gonna, you have to protect your position. I mean, so it's gonna. Look, that's the approach I would take. I would be like, hey, you know how hard you have to run when we're in a pack, so we're not gonna worry about that right now. I like the idea of going out. I'm gonna start really low on the tire pressure. I'm gonna have a car that's really soft, and I need you to go out there, and we're just gonna accept that there's gonna be a lot of positions to get on the long run.
The one thing I'll say, Steve, is that you can protect your tires in areas where there are no passing zones.
There you go. Yep.
Right? So if you think about road course racing, if you can keep the guy behind you, see Chase Elliott looks like he's serving a penalty for missing the front inner loop. Let's go check out, see what happened. And they're just a little too hot. Got the rear tires, front tires sliding. He's missed the exit of the carousel, so this is what you do. You come to a complete stop, off you go.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to save tires on a road course, just keep the guys behind you and just make sure that when you get to passing zones, that's where you run hard, where they can't get by you. That is how you can save tires here.
How about the win last week for Chase Elliott at Kansas? You know, I was talking, Steve, to Alan Gustafson in the garage area. He said kind of the way it came, how unexpected it came, kind of made it a little more fun. Kind of had some pep in the step in the shop this week because we didn't think when we restarted right here we were going to win the race.
So right away he makes a move to the outside of the 24, which is very valuable, and then he just really does a nice job of keeping momentum. Right here he doesn't get blocked up behind the 19 or the 20. He gets by the 20 and even uses that momentum to get to the left of the 19 right here. So that's kind of a 2-for-1. And then just does a nice job. He rolls in. He knows his only chance is the bottom. He has those 4 tires. He gasses it up. The 11 can't get down to block. So I don't want to take anything away from Chase. I don't think he had any moves that were like 3-wide magic, but he never broke momentum for 3 miles. Very, very impressive behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. We talked about the Denny Hamlin 11 car, how, you know, he made a mistake because he didn't win. His teammate, the driver that he drives for him didn't win. But you forget how close he came to winning.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
He had no way of knowing Chase Elliott was coming with that much pace. So Chase kind of came out of nowhere. Kim.
Yeah, and Marty mentioned the little pep in their step that they have this weekend after that win last week. Well, last night they had a big team dinner over at the lake to celebrate the win. And when I talked to crew chief Alan Gustafson this morning, he said, look, we have so much freedom this weekend, and as we look at the week and how we kind of planned out our week, the win at Kansas completely shifted our focus for ROVAL week. They had gone into this weekend, if they had gone into this weekend not locked in, only about 10% of their focus this past week would have been about prepping for Vegas. So there was a huge shift. It kind of flipped. They pulled back on their ROVAL stuff and very much went all in on prepping for Vegas, knowing how important that race is because it can lock you into the championship for.
Yeah, even these big teams, you know, have a finite amount of time and personnel, so where you point that effort makes a big difference.
We're talking about his teammate Kyle Larson a moment ago. Had a little fun on the racetrack.
Fun is by definition of someone.
Oh, a little brush with the wall.
Oh, yeah, that was no problem.
Yeah, here's what Kyle had to say on the radio about that.
I clipped the wall between 1 and 2. I think I just have marbles on my tire, but...
Yeah, 10-4, just go ahead and come to us. No reason to push anything right now. Car's good, just come to us.
So that's an interesting thing he says, Jeff. So we keep talking about tire fall off, but then he says marbles.
Yep.
So, you know, we thought about this at other tracks, but with the tires wear, the tire rubber has to go somewhere, so the offline could get really, really dirty. That's going to make it harder. If I shove you out of line, now I'm less concerned that you're going to come back to me because you're going to get all that all over your tires. And I'm like, see ya. You're bye. Goodbye.
That is crazy how much.
Yeah.
How many marbles are out there only with 20 minutes of practice in the first group and 10 minutes in this group.
I love this.
I was going to say one practice session and just a handful of minutes for this group, and look how dirty the track is. So how is that going to be, especially, Jeff, when you think about restarts during the race? You kind of gonna have to run through spots like that.
You'll have to, and the only thing about restarts is your tires aren't exceptionally hot yet, so you don't pick up as much debris, but you certainly don't want to have to run through there. Riding along here with Joey Logano, he comes into this race 13 points to the good against Ross Chastain. Well, I got to tell you that if I'm Joey Logano, I'm not very happy right now. I do not have the pace that I need to have. Ross Chastain is quicker. You can see SVG in front of him driving away from him. There has got to be some concern, and to be honest, I don't see any of the Penske cars with speed right now. None of them have the pace that looks to me to be, at this point, winning pace. And I'm not saying Joey Logano has to win, but if Chastain picks up a few points in the first stage and a few points in the second stage, then that will put a ton of pressure on Joey Logano.
Yeah, 10 laps and done, too. He just came to pit road, Steve, for Logano.
The counter, I would say, is that, you know, the way people run this race is going to be very interesting to see what happens to the stages, because, Jeff, you bring up a great point, right? He's going to have to stay within touch of the one car. not put pressure on that final stage. Now, if you're the one, you think I could line up in that final stage basically tied with Logano. I might be able to make up all 13 points in the 2 stages.
Chase Briscoe has been terrific qualifying everywhere this year, but especially on the road courses, but just 32nd quick so far. Right on board with him with the Toyota onboard camera.
We've seen this with this team. They don't look like they have it real fast, and all of a sudden he'll sit on the pole, go run top 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right behind him is Chris Buescher, and I would put Chris Buescher in the category of drivers that have a chance to win this race, not only from previous experience and how good he is on road courses, but if you look at his pace today, he is right there with SVG and Larson. Good start of the weekend for him. A little left front brake lock up. There you go.
Not such a good backstretch chicane for him, however.
I mean, that's the thing we talked about with tires, is that the tires not just make lateral grip and rear grip when you're trying to accelerate, but when you're trying to get stopped and they don't stop, you lock the left front tire up, and he just said, okay, I'm not going to wreck this race car. I'm going to turn to the right, bail out on this, not put my car in jeopardy and serve the penalty. But he locks the tires up again, that time on the other side. So what that tells me is they just don't have the braking force that he's expecting. He's expecting the tires to slow the car down, the brakes to slow the car down. He's asking a lot of the tires, and they cannot slow the car down without sliding the front tires. So he can make an adjustment to this car with brake bias, or you may just have to slow your entry speed down.
Denny Hamlin said before the playoffs even started, there is one race our 11 team cannot win. It's the ROVAL. Kind of knows road courses aren't his thing. Here was Hamlin a moment ago, Jeff. Coming off the front stretch chicane.
Yeah, it just seemed like he got out of position a little bit. Hits that curb, hits that one, and then the car just didn't turn for him. He's up against the wall.
No harm, no foul there. Let SVG go and live to fight another corner there for Denny. But, you know, he knows his limitation at road courses and where they are in their point situation, Steve. They don't need to do a lot to be able to advance. Just 9 points needed if there's not a new winner for Hamlin tomorrow.
Yeah, if you're anyone from Byron on up, you have to force somebody below to come catch you. Just don't gift them an easy run. You know, for Denny, just stay on track, run all the laps, force somebody to have a pretty miraculous day.
Well, keep in mind, we talked a lot about last week. 24 cars finished in the lead lap. So Denny Hamlin with a chance to win the race throughout the, hey, we're in good shape here going to the ROVAL. We could finish second. We'd be in great point shape. That win meant that much to him. He was willing to throw that out the window and try to get that win. We saw Jimmy Johnson do the same thing here. He could have advanced into the playoffs, and instead he went aggressively for the win. Shows you how valuable they are.
Austin Cindric there with a pass on Denny Hamlin. I talked to Brian Wilson, Steve, his crew chief. He said, man, we are going completely out of the box with a setup this weekend. He said if we run more than 5 laps in practice, you know it's at least decent. So they've run 10 straight here, so not too bad. And he said, really, we're just trying to complain or play to the complaints, as Todd Gilliland almost loses it going into the corner there. Trying to play to the complaints that Austin has at these road courses. He just needs more rear grip. That's what we've done with the setup. We'll see how it goes, but it's definitely different than anything we've ever run before.
Well, I think from every driver we've heard from, this is different than anything they've seen before, so maybe a different setup is going to match up correctly with it.
Sure.
I will give the field a bit of a warning that I wondered how good the 88 was at tire conservation, and so far my answer is going to be really, really, really good at it.
Yes, he's exceptional at it. Saving the rear tires is his game.
Yeah, he's
and I would argue this plays into his favor even more with a tire that falls off this much, Steve.
Yeah. You know, I think the big concern if you're SVG is that the race falls in a funny way with a bunch of yellows, because from just outright speed, it's shocking how much faster he is in the field at the moment.
So we are 12 to 13 laps into runs for teams in Group B. What do you see? And seeing the same thing with tires in this group, Steve? Or
for everybody but the 88.
Okay.
So I'm not going to kid. So Who do you want to know? The 54 at 4 seconds of fall off. The 20 car is 4.5 seconds of fall off. SVG is currently running 2 seconds a lap faster on the same tires.
Wow.
Christopher Bell. Sorry.
Absolutely cooked, done, gone.
That'd be Chase Elliott. Tires absolutely cooked, gone, Jeff.
And that's how many laps, Jeff? I'm trying to find him up.
I can't find him either.
13 for Chase Elliott.
23rd on the speed chart.
There you go.
Now, what I will say is, you know, I've seen the fastest car lose a lot of races. So the goal is always to be the fastest, but you still have to run the race. You still have to play the game. And I believe that's what, you know, I love about this garage more than everybody. They're all going to go home tonight, Jeff. They're going to say, well, this is what we can do, and this is what we can do, and this is what we have to do. They're going to continue to crew chief, continue to pit the car, try to avoid penalties, and there's a lot to still be determined.
So, Jeff, what do you tell your crew chief tonight then when you
I'm not
go
answering
home?
my phone.
Why not? What do you tell him? Do you go, hey, we've got to figure out how to build longevity in this car, or are you working on getting speed out of it for this qualifying session?
So it's easier said than done. Like, it's easier to say, hey, I want my car to be good on a long run versus a short run. Well, how do you do that? I mean, it's not as easy, right, as people would think. So certainly knowing now where the tire fall off is, where am I the slowest? What's giving me the most trouble? Let's work on that. This is a good example. Watch this 88 car. All right, here's an example of a change for everybody. Look how low he is. He is below, he's on the apron. He is on the apron of the racetrack trying to get his rear tires to hook up. Everybody I've seen leave that corner is as low as I've ever seen them. That is an adjustment to the rear tires, trying to make grip. Watch this. Here you see Cindric, he's going to make a pass on Hamlin, but even with making the pass in a shallow entry, watch the two of Cindric. He intentionally overslows his car to leave on the very bottom. They're doing that because that's where the most rear grip is. And they're trying to get the car to accelerate.
It's kind of like Richmond. You know, you showed it to me at Richmond, how they run a lane down the front stretch.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it off of the rear carousel as well. Drivers running really low.
Well, I said that the 88 had a huge advantage. I will tell you the one car I believe that is close. Now, he's still probably a second off the 88, but he is the best of the rest. He's the 88 of William Byron. I'm not sure he loves his car. Kim, I hear he doesn't love his car. I think he might have a different opinion when he looks at the lap times.
Yeah, I'll answer that question for you, and I'll answer Jeff's question too, because he wondered at the beginning of this session if maybe he was tiptoeing around the track to save tires. From the get-go, William has said, I do not feel great. In fact, he finished the session saying, I feel terrible. So whatever he's feeling in the car, he does not like. And something else interesting, you guys have kind of talked about some of the points buffers teams have and how they just have to have, you know, a mediocre day to transfer. Well, I had a conversation with Rudy Bugle, and he said, look, a pedestrian day tomorrow would definitely get us the transfer, but he said if you attempt to race like that, you will get swept up in somebody else's mess. So do not expect them to lay back tomorrow despite being plus 40 to the cut line.
Man, I like that attitude, Jeff, right? Don't just sit back, right? You can't be super aggressive, but just try to win the race like you do every week, right? Be aggressive. But I will say, I find that William doesn't love his car. It's a little bit, I remind everybody at Richmond, I've never had a driver love a car at Richmond. Some are just faster than others. But when I look at the fall off and look at where he's at, man, he's close.
He's in the game.
He is totally in the game. He is, I believe, the second best car here, even though he may hate it, which is fine. It's not a ride contest. It's how fast can you go?
Jeff, I'm sorry, it's not about making you happy today.
Hey, look, you know what I'm happy at? When the race is over and I'm in victory lane, I don't care how I got there, right? It doesn't matter.
I don't care how we got there. Just help me to get there. So, hey, the round of 12 wraps up here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway at the ROVAL.
No, our timing disappeared. I don't know where we are on speed, so probably need to make it a little bit quicker. It's not really good, but I guess our long run was okay, but yeah.
17th overall in one lap.
Yeah, so pretty average there. We need to get a bit faster. But yeah, WeatherTech Chevy looks good. I just need to get a bit more speed out of it.
There was a lot of question about the tire, you know, what you want to learn, what it may do. What did you experience?
It's crazy. It's a lot slower than last year and a lot less grip. So yeah, we really need to change our car to try and get some grip back in it and look after the tire a little better. Yeah, it's amazing. We did 26s and ended up at 30s. So probably going to be a good race for the fans, but frustrating for the drivers all sliding around.
They'll change the car a little bit. What do you have to change as a driver?
I just need to be a bit more accurate, be a bit better.
And then I just need to switch the tire on quicker somehow with my driving. So, yeah, it paid off, I guess, because I was easy on them, but I need to be faster on one lap.
All right, that's Shane Van Gisbergen. Think about how good he is already. He says he has to get better.
Thank you, Alan. That might be the most talkative Shane Van Gisbergen we've heard in a while. You can tell he is very engaged as to what's happening here. Let's give you the rest of the rundown here. 21st quick was Ryan Preece. He was in Group 1. Riley Herbst was 22nd. Chase Elliott 23rd. Ryan Blaney 24th. And we just lost our practice timing, but fortunately we have a backup here. So beyond Ryan Blaney, we look at 25th, Tyler Reddick. Michael McDowell 26th. 27th was Bubba Wallace. 28th was Joey Logano. 29th, Cole Custer. 30th, Denny Hamlin.
31st, Todd Gilliland. Chase Briscoe 32nd. Austin Cindric 33rd. Eric Jones, 34th. Brad Keselowski, 35th. Josh Bilicki, 36th. 37th, Cody Ware.
We will come back and get set to qualify for the Bank of America ROVAL 400.
Whether your engine runs daily or only when you need it, Z-Max Micro Lubricant is the force you need against carbon buildup that can damage your engine. Combustion causes carbon and other harmful deposits to build up in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. And carbon is like sandpaper rubbing against your engine's internal parts. You don't want that. You want Z-Max Micro Lubricant. It soaks into metal and keeps your vehicle running at peak performance. Find out more at zmax.com or visit us on Facebook and Twitter. Protect your engine to the max with Z-Max.
Hi, I'm Kyle Petty, and I want to tell you about a place that's near and dear to my heart, Victory Junction. It's a year-round camp that gives kids with complex medical and physical conditions life-changing experiences that are fun, empowering, and always free for families. Please help Victory Junction support kids who need it the most by getting involved today. Whether you know a child who could benefit, want to volunteer, or join our team, you can be a part of something truly special. Learn more by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Coming up next, qualifying for the Bank of America ROVAL 400 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, this is Brett McMillan. The opinions fly fast and furious each week on the Pit Reporters.
Every other major league sport has a playoff system, so I think the playoff system should stay. I do think there's maybe slight middle ground where there could be some changes that are made.
I do remember seasons where this championship had been decided well before the last few races, so it just isn't quite the same vibe that we have now.
Join us each week for the Pit Reporters.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to qualifying for the Bank of America ROVAL 400 alongside Pat Patterson and Mark Garrow. My name is Brad Gilley. We're 5 minutes away from Group 1 rolling for a 20-minute qualifying session, but right now we go down to pit road and Alan Cabana.
And I'm with Kyle Larson. An eventful practice for Larson. Let's talk about kissing the wall off one. What happened?
Just kissed the wall off one. I don't know. I just, it just has, you're just lacking a lot of grip as you go and trying to just still maximize everything. So, yeah, just barely kissed the wall, but no big deal.
All right, before then, it looked like the 5 car was going pretty well. How would you assess the speed and the longevity of your car?
Yeah, I thought we had good speed, so, I guess I wouldn't have kissed the wall and just kind of played it out, but up to that point, I felt things were going okay with our car, and just, it was a good practice, so we'll try to just study here and get better.
All right, Kyle Larson has the iPad in his hand right now, pointing out what he did, what he didn't do. That information goes to the team, can help him out. It got loud down here. We're still going to let him work.
All right, thank you very much, Alan. Just kiss the wall, no big deal.
That's Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Left
that
rear
is,
that
he's on
just
dirt.
came
He's up
off
at the
car.
top of the.
This is not what you want to see. You see this cording here along the perimeter. We're going to move that tire over there to get it out of the way, but you can see it almost the entire circumference of that tire. Again, the left rear. So, Steve, I know guys are looking for grip. I had talked to crew chiefs this morning who said, look, we might have to go very low on our pressures, especially for that infield portion to find the grip the driver needs. Is that a product of this, or is there a bigger concern here?
Well, without a doubt. So really, three big things affect tire wear. The toe, how much it's pointed left to right, the air pressure, which you can imagine inflated like a balloon, or how much it's tipped in. That's the inside of the left rear that's worn out. So definitely it is tipped maybe a little bit more than you want, and also maybe a little too little air pressure. If you put a little air pressure in, it kind of moves the wear towards the center. The question is, can you make it better? Because this is what it looks like. So I showed you earlier the 54s fall off, right? So the red line here is SVG in the 88. The 24 is William Byron. Like I said, I think William Byron is the second best car here on the long run. A lot of cars are pretty close right here. That's what SVG was saying. Hey, I want more fire-off speed. I want to get going. Now, what I will tell SVG is out here, after about 8 or 9 laps, that is Grand Canyon of a margin. It's 1 second a lap, which is just gigantic.
That's crazy.
Goes back to that tire wear. If he has that much speed built in, he could go a little easier. He could save his tires longer. He could run. Just a lot of things open up. You don't have to push. And that's really the big thing, Jeff, I think, is if you have that speed, you force others on those slippery tires to make more mistakes.
Yeah, look, we've seen it with SVG. He is good at the end of long runs. He ends up driving away. That's where he makes up his ground. And to your point, Marty, you made it earlier, this could become even a bigger advantage for him with this much tire wear. But Steve said it earlier, the fastest car, for the most part, I would venture to say the fastest car rarely wins anymore. I mean, it's such a competitive series, pit road, and with this much tire wear, you're going to have a lot of pit stops, a lot of opportunities for cautions, so you just don't know what's going to happen.
Christopher L. getting some tips from Eric Almirola there, who's been hanging out with the Gibbs guys lately. Back with qualifying here from the ROVAL in a moment.
The chicanes down here and so forth is going to be the harder you drive the car, chances are the slower you're going to be. But at the same time, if you don't get that fine line of pushing it as hard as you possibly can without losing the rear end, you can completely destroy a lap in one corner at this racetrack. And there's 17 of them.
Absolutely, Pat. And I think that, again, as you talked about, is the key to Shane Van Gisbergen. As you're trying to chase him or hold him off, he's still conserving tire, the way he drives the race car. And it seems these guys, they can hang with him or hold him off for a little while, but eventually pushing as hard as they're pushing, their tires just fall off the cliff.
You force people into mistakes. I mean, the way you win these races is you force the guy that's trying to catch you, to go past that limit, to have himself a hard time in this corner or that corner. Consistency seemingly always wins these races, and more than anything else, Shane is very, very consistent in what he does.
Let's set this up. We're about to now have 2 20-minute sessions, Group 1 and Group 2 for qualifying. They each go out. They have 20 minutes. They can make 2 laps. They can make 15. It depends on what they think they have time for or where they think their car can be fast. Group 1 is about to go out for their time session. Remember, now they are on fresh sticker Goodyear tires. Alan Cavana, what's happening trackside?
I've got Joey Logano was just breaking it down with his teammates. We heard a lot about a loose tire, a new tire. What'd you feel on this new tire on this track?
There ain't much of it left by the end, I can tell you that much. The tire fall is incredible, which is cool. I don't think any of us really seen that much coming. I think we expected more tire wear, but that's like, holy cow, more tire wear. So it's I think everybody on pit road is probably in panic mode right now trying to figure out what to do.
What do you do as a driver? They'll fix the car, they'll make an adjustment. What do you have to do as a driver? What does that mean to you?
I'm going to go qualify, and then I'm going to figure out which way's up from there. So a lot to look at tonight, but I got some thoughts, but a lot more to look at.
All right, the defending champion still trying to keep it that way, has some homework to do, he says.
So we have drop-off, and we have holy cow drop-off. So now we now do the top end of it.
Well, and it's the balance. You're just trying to find the balance, the best balance for you and what you feel in your race car. You know, Logano knows how much brake he's using going to each one of these corners, and he knows that the less brake he can apply but not lose speed means that he's going to save the tire. It's the fight for that balance which just baffles everybody when it comes to trying to figure out how good is my car. You know, right now, if you look at the board, Fords aren't very good. You take Chris Buescher out of the mix right now, and the Fords themselves look like they're really struggling right now, at least in the practice portion of what we're doing here.
All right, Andrew Curlin, we got the first cars hitting the chicane. What are they looking like out there?
Yeah, the first cars are hitting. That's A.J. Allmendinger, who was fast in that first practice session. He jerked the wheel to the left, right, and now eases it back to the left. He's going to use as much banking as he can, riding closer to the wall, and now will arc down low to start his lap as he sails off of 14.
A.J. Allmendinger into the front stretch chicane. Left, now again hard to the right. He clips the curb, coming back to the left. He's being followed by Ty Dillon, also in this trio across the stripe, John Hunter Nemechek.
Well, A.J. Allmendinger told Alan Cavana he really wasn't good in any of the corners. You got to have 17 perfect ones if you want to grab pole. So far, so good for A.J. Allmendinger. A little wiggle at the exit of turn 2. The former open wheel star dives it into turn 3, Mark.
You just wonder how good he's going to be once he does get it figured out after that performance in that first session. A lot of head scratching going on for sure. We'll see if he gets it figured out throughout the extent of this qualifying session as he sets up for turn number 5.
He's up and down the hill through 5 and then pretty smoothly through 6 and carrying a lot of speed, not hard on the brakes, but don't get on him now. Shifted down to first gear, almost locks up the tires in turn 7 with his teammate Ty Dillon behind. A.J. Allmendinger executes on the bank.
Very
One
good
thing A.J. Allmendinger
move
did
by
not
NASCAR,
see
bring
in
the
that practice
finish line into play.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
When they did it, we're like, why didn't we do that 30 years ago? Like, it makes so much sense to be able to run a lap and then just pull in and not have to go all the way around the racetrack to get back to pit road.
Yeah, and mess up other people's laps is really the most important part of that, right? So A.J. Allmendinger fastest overall in practice. Like every driver out there, Steve said, I hated my race car. We'll see what he can do here in qualifying.
Well, so while it is kind of an open session for all of this time, from what they're saying about this tire, I can't imagine you want to do this more than once. I would imagine all the good is right away.
And would you even want to run a second lap? Because normally the second lap is the quicker one, Steve.
That's what I was going to say is weird. This is the same tire that at other highway racetracks like Sonoma, they ran faster the second lap.
Yes, they did.
So, I really don't know. I'm interested to see what the teams feel.
I think you have to give yourself the bandwidth to make that second run, right? So you got to go early here in the session, especially if you're A.J. Allmendinger, you got a bunch of clean racetrack in front of you.
Yeah, one thing you did see in that corner, that shot in that corner, is that all the tire marbles are built up on the outside of the groove. So if you do make a mistake today, even in qualifying, it's going to cost you more than it normally would. Look at that.
Wow.
That's
like
so
you have
awesome.
no room for error.
Jeff saying there's no room for error.
I love it.
And you
So
said that's awesome.
Well, both can be true. Like,
I
right?
love it. That's incredible.
Look at that curve. You see Allmendinger just, car looked like it was 2 feet in the air when he hit those blue turtles. Here he comes to the start-finish line.
See what kind of lap the Dinger puts up.
The other thing I'll say about this lap is that the last time he was in that car, he was running, what, 134, 135s? He had to go pick up 9 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, that is a massive challenge for drivers to go find that much speed.
So that answers our question, Steve, as we watch Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the track. And that was one and done, no question, for the 16.
Yeah, I think that would have to be, unless you feel behind the wheel that you have missed a corner or made a big mistake, I just think one and done has got to be what you're thinking.
Also, you see the difference in lines between where they were running on old tires, trying to find rear grip. Now they have new tires on. They leave that in-course second field section, and they're immediately up onto the banking. No longer are they running all the way down on the apron.
John Hunter Nemechek out on the track, Steve.
Second lap for him, but his first one was about 3.5 seconds off, so I'm assuming he had a moment somewhere.
So now this brings this whole element of how you approach this session into play.
Well, hope's not a very good strategy. I've tried that a few
Hope
times.
is never a risk management process.
You better have a better plan.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, do you wait now? If you're saying, hey, it's going to be one lap and that's it, would you wait till later in the session when in theory the track's a little bit better?
I would. I don't think there's a reason to go out right away. I would probably run, you know, halfway through the session.
I mean, look, John Hunter's almost 3 seconds off the pace.
The real problem for waiting is if someone goes out there and has a mechanical issue, oils the track down, something like that, you just miss, you know, any opportunity to run a clean lap. There doesn't seem to be a big hurry to get out there and run.
It seems to me, though, if you mess up your first lap, you're better off just quitting.
I agree.
Just quit. That's the advantage of going early. If you mess up your lap, you can quit. You can come down pit road, let your tires cool off, get the air pressure set back, and then go back and run again.
And even if you leave pit road, Jeff, and you kind of meander through the infield and don't take any more life out of your tire, you have all NASCAR wanted to, the backstretch chicane, to get, you know, to get the green. You have more than enough time to get up to speed.
That's right.
The numbers will show a 35th place finish at Kansas for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. But Jeff, I think everyone knew that they had a top 15 car for much of that race at Kansas, just didn't get the result that they wanted. Had some speed, certainly no doubt about it. Kyle Busch out on the track had the best overall average in Group A. But he, like all the drivers, not very happy with how the car felt. And you can see that fall off already here for Kyle Busch.
Look at that. See, he's on the apron of the racetrack. Yeah. That's just the shortest way to get to the alternate start finish line. He's not going to be happy with that lap.
I'm starting to see some front tire hop. And when you take enough rear spring out of it, like right there, you see how the left front's completely off the ground?
Yeah.
When you take enough rear spring out of it and don't have enough rear sway bar, you know, think about a table leg and you cut an inch off. When I push that leg on the ground, the front leg comes up. And that's really what happens is the car starts to porpoise and move. And that's the toughest when you have to qualify your race setup is if you were going to qualify, even with these tires that wear, you would stiffen the suspension. You would make it more like a sports car. And you want to race more like a Tahoe. You want to have that thing kind of flopping all around, nice and soft. But in this situation, you have to run the same setup in both situations.
So is that what you were talking about, making the rear spring softer?
Yeah.
So you could get a little more grip in the tires?
Yeah, so when you go to the gas, you want it to kind of have some transition, get some weight back there, but when you're hustling, the car's just not very responsive.
Tell you what, Alex Bowman, you know, it seemed like nobody was going to come close to A.J. Allmendinger, but he's not too far off, going to make a second lap here for Bowman.
I think the end of this year is really important for Alex Bowman. Listen, Austin Dillon, he comes into the front stretch chicane trying to find a lot of speed, and it's just not going to stop. Just not enough braking force. So that lap is gone.
And that hurts you bad.
But I think the end of this year is really important for Alex Bowman. You know, they really rallied the middle part of the year. They ran really well, and then just in the first round of the playoffs, just one thing after another, and that's demoralizing, right? And they got to find a way to get going again. Leave this year with some positive energy. They did a lot of good things this year. It just did not end well for them. They can use these last 4 races to really get headed in the right direction.
We can tell that second lap just no good for anybody. A second off there for Alex Bowman.
Yeah, but let's see what he ran. Just almost the same speed, first and second lap.
Yeah,
Cole Custer looked like he was in the game for a little bit there, Steve.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's just almost a second off from the 16 in general. 41's kind of in striking distance. I mean, 0.3 of a second is as close as we've seen anybody heading into this backstretch chicane.
Qualified well in Mexico City, finished 8th in that race.
Gave a bunch back getting in. Will it come back on exit? No, sir, not enough. And when I think about road course drivers like A.J. Allmendinger, I always think about switchback corners, like the chicanes. You know, I just think they're very good at kind of get like the quick twitches, right? To get their cars going the 2 different directions as fast as possible.
Josh Berry decently off the pace. This might be part of the reason of why.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, look at that.
He's in the clag.
The clag.
He's in the clag.
Here we go. We're naming them turtles. We're naming
that's the
marbles.
clag.
I love it. I love it, Steve.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm surprised he ran as fast as he ran. I mean, he was all the way through that section of the racetrack. He got in it, and he just couldn't get out of it.
David Hobbs would be proud of that reference.
Yes, he would. We're going to have to text him right now.
Does he text?
Yeah, a little bit. Not much. Not much.
We'll have our buddy Diffie call him.
Have to go through Diffie to give him a call. Yeah, exactly. Cody Ware out on the track right now, along with Josh Balicki, Noah Gregson, Riley Herbst, and Ty Gibbs coming up to speed. So there's a car that's got some pace, Steve. Ty Gibbs that we're mentioning, who waited to go out later in the session. We'll see if more teams use that in Group B.
And I like the idea. It's still 9 minutes left, right? So if you have an issue, Jeff, to your point, if he has to come back in, cool everything off, he has time.
Whoa. Wow, Cody Ware went all the way to the apron.
Oh, boy.
He was trying to run the apron, and it just didn't wasn't going to stay there. He was going to spin out, so he just had to quit turning it.
So I like what Ty's doing right here. So he's purposely not rolling any harder. Like, see him? Listen, he's saving as much tire as possible. So he thinks tires are as good as they can be right away.
This just feels like one giant experiment to me, Steve. He's trying a whole bunch of different things.
We talked a lot about teammates. Remember, he has playoff teammates in the next round. Maybe this is something they talked about. And Ty's like, well, I'll go give it a try. See if it works. And if it works for him, then they'll know what to do for the next cars. They work so well together.
Yeah, why not? Maybe this is the olive branch, Steve. We're going to start working together. It's going to be great.
Hear the car bottoming out.
Yeah. What a great shot from the monster onboard camera for Ty Gibbs as he comes to take the green, Jeff.
Ty's a good road racer. See what he can do. Into turn one, down the hill. Now he's headed uphill. Blind corner. That's where we saw Barry get out in the marbles. That's what we call it here. And then hard right-hander.
You got your shot in.
I like that.
Watch this right here. Listen to the throttle. Just couldn't quite go to the gas, but still a good lap going.
Yeah.
This still fascinates me. There is no idea where the corner is. Like, where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Right under braking is where you see it. Stay to the right as long as you can. Almost hit that tire pack. Use all the racetrack here. Back to the throttle.
Majority of the lap, he's been in the green. Let's see if he can hold it all the way to the alt-start finish line.
He went to the bottom of the racetrack in the banking just because it's the shortest way around. This is a heavy, heavy braking zone. Left curb, right curb, throttle. Now watch what he does. Look how low he is, all the way on the apron.
Good lap.
By a good bit. Ty Gibbs to the top. That was fun. Thanks for taking us on the lap, Jeff.
He did all the work. I just thought
you were the guide. You were the tour guide, though.
Look at the tires. Steve talked about the soft rear springs, trying to get the rear tires to hook up. That's a problem with him too, right? As the car leans over, gets off of the fronts.
So if you're Tyler Allen, you've seen that lockup. I mean, obviously, you're top of the charts right now as Kyle Busch makes another go of it. Steve, do you say, we're done because I'm not going to go make another run unless I have to, obviously, but you see that lockup, are you going to say that's it?
Yeah, well, the advantage you have, you can open the hood, roll it, check those front tires and see if there's any flat spot. Let's see what happens to the 8 of Kyle Busch.
Use all the racetrack. Look at this.
Wow.
I mean, that tire just moves. It doesn't. Look at the right front fender. It's probably not damaged. That's the advantage of those tire packs, is that you can brush up against them and it doesn't damage the car. It leaves a little mark.
Yeah.
But it's all fine.
You did say it would bend. Kyle Busch just wanted to prove you right, Jeff.
Well, every now and then I'm right. Appreciate Kyle helping me out.
You didn't test it out with a pace car earlier, did you?
I did not.
Were you tempted to?
No, DJ did the ride today.
Oh, DJ drove today.
Yeah, DJ, we got some laps.
I brought the Hall of Famer in.
You know, hey.
That's right.
Go
You're out, Burton. Hall of Famer's in.
You got the bullpen. You want to get a Hall of Famer, Stevie, you know?
That's a good pick. He did sit on the pole, Watkins Glen.
Pick that right-hander, right?
He claims it didn't happen, but it did. I saw it.
It did.
How'd you do qualifying at road courses, Jeff?
Hey, look at this lap Busch has going.
There's your way of not answering that. So a second run, Steve, we can tell you're not going to get much more life out of those tires, but Kyle Busch trying it.
How about Riley Herbst in 5th? Last time we saw that car, it was attempting to roll over out of the tire barrier, and here it is in 5th.
And they have not improved the look of it. But
wow, you kidding me? It looks like a monster. Leave that thing. It's perfect for the paint scheme. I love it. They should absolutely. That's how it should start the race.
Let's give some credit to the young driver. First ever Cup race and at the ROVAL, and you know, Carson Osavar spins right.
Cool it down, bring it to us.
At the oval start-finish line, and you hear Luke Lambert say, "Bring it to us."
Well, cool it down first. Try
cool
to
it
cycle
down.
the
Yeah.
engines. Yeah.
He had just run his fastest lap. His 3rd lap was his fastest lap.
Wow, look at that lock up.
Cooked it down in here, and
wow. Those turtles.
You know, those things are about, I don't know, 7 inches tall. They look like they're 3 feet tall when they hit them. Hit the end of them, it just launches the car.
Yeah, you used your phone earlier to measure them. You put your phone down right by the turtles to see how big they really are.
This thing hits in the middle. Like, I think it hits the floor.
Whack.
Whoa, man. I mean, that's got to be a hard hit behind the wheel.
Oh, it's really hard. Remember, at Watkins Glen.
Hits flush.
At Watkins Glen, they took those big turtles out because through the inner loop, they were hit. You had to hit them every lap, and it was so jarring to the drivers. It was like crashing every single lap, so they took them out.
That's what I like about the tire barrier in the first corner of the front chicane.
Okay.
Is the drivers can hit the turtles with the tire, but not something like that.
Yeah.
I know we just saw Kyle Busch touch the tires, but I think it doesn't. These drivers are required to basically jump the curbs at Watkins Glen.
How about this paint scheme?
Pretty cool. Seen that with a couple of cars. The Haynes paint scheme always, or jockey paint scheme, I should say, always seems to have that look. But Gamebridge and their STEM program going with the look of the driver behind the wheel. Suarez in the green.
A lot of lap left.
Whoa! Wow!
There it went.
Yep. In the clag, as Steve would say.
Well, he got tight, missed the bottom, put some wheel in it, and that was kind of, so it looks loose off, but I actually think that happened on corner entry. He kind of missed the apex. Now at this point, this is the unfortunate part about waiting. 2.5 minutes left, no time on the board. So you have to run this lap out. Hocevar
didn't make it back to pit road. He's stuck in the infield.
Yeah, you're wondering if there's another bigger issue with that car after that big launch over the turtles.
Here you go. You talked about it.
Yep, lock up, tight.
Yeah, missed the entry because of that lockup, and now he's just looking
in the clag and the wall and everything.
Tell you what, though,
lap time.
Yes, but
good recovery.
Yes,
could have been
very
way
good
worse.
recovery.
He's going to be inside the top 5. I think
that was a great recovery.
Something like that.
2.5 seconds off puts him 8th overall.
Let's see if he can make it up on the second lap. He cooked it out down into there, I can tell you that. We did see a few cars run about the same pace on the second lap, which tells me that if he cleans his lap up, maybe he has a chance.
Zane Smith's in the ball game at least, Steve.
What a week last week for the 38 of Zane Smith. Him and John Hunter Nemechek had contact, and it got the 38 up into the wall. Jeff, this was a weird wreck. It's like the car just climbed the wall, the right front tire right here. He kind of gets sandwiched, and it just slides along the left side. I talked to Zane this week. He said this wasn't that bad. It wasn't awesome. But this right here, this hurt. This bouncing and banging off the frame rails was not a smooth ride.
Years ago, he did kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Glad to see he was okay after all that. Just a little over a second off for Zane Smith. Tell you what, you can see at bottom left, Daniel Suarez still at it. And even gaining a little bit of lap time from where he was earlier. See if he can improve.
Josh Berry on track also. We saw he got out of the groove on his first lap. Just trying to improve a little bit.
Alex Bowman out for a second run after going earlier. Talked about this fall off, but Bowman kind of hanging in there pretty good for the second run. So we talked about Suarez improving. He did indeed improve from 8th up to 5th and hanging in there on his third lap as well. So maybe disproving our theory of going back out, running longer will hurt you.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how good of a lap you got. I think we're going to learn that from Ty Gibbs, who's currently on the racetrack as well.
Cole Custer making a second run. Ty Gibbs also, as you mentioned, Steve, he must have shut it down because he's now 5 seconds off the pace.
Back up. Yeah, Custer did the same thing.
As time has run out for Group A, Ty Gibbs just going out. You know, maybe that's what Tyler Allen wanted him to do, go out and fill out those tires when they flat spotted it. Who knows?
Yeah, I think he was trying to run a lap, and it just wasn't the turn one he was looking for.
So that's how the first group will wind up as Ty Gibbs slowly brings it back to pit road. He is the fastest here in Group 1. A.J. Allmendinger winds up second. Nice lap for Ty Dillon. He's third. Cole Custer fourth. Daniel Suarez winds up fifth. Here was the aforementioned effort in turn 1, Steve. That's why they blew off the second run.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to Suarez. Just locked up the left front. Now, remember, that's the same thing. As you take stiffness away from these cars, braking and turning becomes very, very difficult because the inside tire gets really light. It's going to be easy to slide. And, Jeff, we have seen this car create flat spots that have forced pit stops pretty consistent at these road courses.
So for those Group B crew chiefs, they've learned quite a bit as Carson Osavar still tries to get back to pit road. Group B in the playoff cars coming up next here from the ROVAL on True TV.
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks.
By getting involved today, whether you know a child who could benefit, want to volunteer, or join our team, you can be a part of something truly special. Learn more by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Eric Jones was fast enough at Kansas to make the Group 2 session here, but he will not qualify today. Power steering issue on that Legacy Motor Club number 43. From the ROVAL at Charlotte Motor Speedway, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Grab a friend and pack the cooler. Saturday Night Racing returns to North Wilkesboro Speedway October 18th for the ZMAX Cars Tour Championship. See rising stars like Keelan Harvick compete against short track racing's best in season finals for Pro Late Model Stock, and the Smart Modified Tour. Party down North Wilkesboro style with the ZMAX Cars Tour Saturday, October 18th. For tickets, visit northwilkesborospeedway.com.
More than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners. The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179. Tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
On a fabulous Saturday at Charlotte Motor Speedway, qualifying continuing in just a moment for the Bank of America ROVAL 400. The driver they're shooting at in this second group currently is Ty Gibbs. We've had 5 qualifying sessions for this race, and we've had 5 different pole sitters. A year ago, again, SVG, but Kurt Busch has won a pole here, William Byron, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, and as I mentioned, Shane Van Gisbergen a year ago. So will we go 6 for 6, or will one of those guys that are still racing, one of the 4 that are still racing, be able to do it again?
Among the Group 2 drivers, Kyle Larson was the fastest, but that was 7th quick overall in practice earlier. And looking at this track, Pat and I were talking as we went into Group 1 qualifying, the south side of the racetrack, which would basically be the exit of pit road and that whole section of track, that was under cloud cover at the time, and that seemed to be the faster way around. Now this entire racetrack, Pat, looks like it's bathed under sunlight.
Yeah, I mean, when we started a few minutes ago, it looked like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was just really looked like the sun was setting down here in what NASCAR fans know as turns 3 and 4. Okay, we call them 13 and 14 for the ROVAL, but 3 and 4. That's the north end of the racetrack. That was where the sunlight was. Down here, though, I mean, it looked like we were about ready to turn the lights on at this place. It was that dark.
Pat, do they want to go jump right out on the racetrack? Well, we'll get to that in just a second. First, let's go to Alan Cavana.
Fastest so far in qualifying, a good practice. How do you describe your laps out there and the quality of it for Ty Gibbs?
Oh, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought I could be a little bit better, so wish I could have rerun it, but we'll hammer down tomorrow. Hopefully have a good starting spot for tonight.
Where are the trouble spots out there?
The tire is a lot slicker, so, coming off some of the slow, flat, straight corners, it's really slick.
All right, Ty Gibbs on top of the board right now, has to wait and see where he ends up, and starts tomorrow at the ROVAL.
So in this second group, Ross Chastain went out way before everybody else. He is going to have about a half a mile before we get to the next car. I believe that's Todd Gilliland. And at this point, I guess everybody, Pat, is going to keep an eye on SVG at this point, right? 4 wins on the road courses this year, 3 pole positions out of those 5 races. I guess that's what everybody's waiting for at this point. But do you want to go out, as I said before, after this qualifying session, the first group, do you want to jump out there as quickly as you can, or will the track get better with more cars on it?
It's a good question, Mark, and I don't think we're getting ready to find out. Obviously, we get Chastain up to speed out here right now, but bright sunshine all the way around the racetrack, a little bit of of shade down on Turnbull's end of the racetrack right now. But I think Ross Chastain's going to tell us a lot right now with his. He was not bad in practice at all, but as he gets ready to get on his hot lap here, it'll be interesting to see what the one car can do.
He's already crossed the alternate start-finish line. He is on his time lap right now. Ross Chastain will point it left to the infield, and Nick Yeoman.
Here comes Ross Chastain, full-time race car driver, part-time radio announcer. Looks nice and smooth. Leaving turn number 1. Busch Light, the sponsorship on that Chevrolet sky blue and white machine for Ross Chastain. He gets it woed down, wiggles a little bit at the entrance to turn 3.
Steering issue for their Toyota at Legacy Motor Club.
Chastain just rolling around really slowly. Will wait as long as he thinks he can. See, he's building up speed now.
Great chance for us to go on board for a qualifying lap here, Jeff, at the ROVAL.
Yeah, he's still not up to full speed. He's going to wait. He's going to leave right here. He's going to roll. Let's go. Now he's full speed, 100% throttle. His alternate start-finish line right there. It's high pressure. He knows he has to lay a lap down here. Seen a lot of people miss this corner. Feel like Chastain got to the bottom like he needed to there. That corner, man, has become more of a corner than I remember.
It's a bit sneaky, isn't it, Steve?
It really is. And then down here, there's just real slippery section. He's got to be patient.
Wow, even on new tires at qualifying speed, they are tiptoeing around here. You can just hear he cannot get the rear tires to hook up, can't get the front tires to turn.
It just feels so slow through there in turn 7, as the spotter tells him a little bit of lockup there.
Yeah, 30 miles an hour, 33 miles an hour. That's how slow they're going in the middle of that corner.
Remember, Gibbs is about 0.4 of a second faster than Allmendinger in second.
Tell you what, he was a second off of the quick time in practice, Jeff. So to be here 2-3 off in qualifying, you happy with that?
Well, he didn't get that exit set up very well right there. He got in the corner, just didn't get it lined up very well. Look at that!
Wow!
Huge fight.
Wow!
Just trying to run the apron. We've seen a lot of drivers trying to run the apron. They just can't keep the car to stay there.
He had to get out of the gas, I think, before the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, to third for Ross Chastain. We were on board. This is the first part of that lap where we were talking. It looked like a sneaky handful, and you can see he lays tire tracks down there.
You can see how much the cars are bouncing and moving, and then this right here, I think you get out of the gas when this thing steps up on the. I don't know what that's worth, but I think I would just run around the bottom of the racetrack and stay off the apron.
That was a handful on board.
Listen. Yeah, he lifted.
Man.
He had to lift or he was going to hit the wall.
He's driving that thing every second. Here's Todd Gilliland.
Yeah, he's out of the groove. The guys behind him like it. They're just pushing all the rubber marbles off out of the groove.
Tell you what, that turn 2 has kind of become the little action spot on this track, hasn't it? Especially as many marbles are sitting over there. Yeah, on the corner of the track.
What's interesting is it seems like it starts in turn 1. Like if you don't hit turn 1 exactly right, the cars don't make enough grip to recover. And then as you start up the hill, look at that elevation change. That is leaving turn 1, approaching turn 2. So you start up the hill, and then as you go through turn 2, look at this elevation change, how you're going downhill. You get into the banking of turn 2. Look how much banking there is there, right? There's a lot of banking, but then as you go downhill into turn 3, downhill braking is difficult for any race car. It does not want to stop as well. Car doesn't sit like you want it to sit, and you have a very tough right-hander, Mamba.
Yeah, I was just sitting here watching as Ross Chastain made that lap. The shifting that is going to change in race, guys, versus in practice and in qualifying, coming through the track in 3 and 4, NASCAR 3 and 4, it seems so sketchy. And obviously during qualifying, they're running the apron. When they're in race mode, though, how is that going to affect them? How are they going to be able to maneuver? It might be a big place to make some moves.
Yeah, I think the exit of that backstretch chicane is pretty wide open, and that's what we've seen, right? If you get a good entry and middle, you could pull up next to a guy and kind of drag race around to the front stretch. Cindric already way off the pace. I think by design?
Yeah, I think what he's doing, I think he's intentionally going around here really slow. I think he believes that a little bit of heat in the tire may make the tire perform better. So he's riding around really, really slow.
This is what I mean about there just seem to be so many science experiments going on, way more than normal. Just kind of, we don't know. We'll try this, you try that, see what happens.
That's what happens when you have no idea what the answer is.
See right there?
You know what this is? This is a multiple choice test when you do A, B, C, D, B, A, C, D, B, A. You just hope you hit a couple of them right.
That's how I got through high school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like the SAT, Steve, right?
Yeah, oh, hey, C. Statistically, it's the C.
That's right.
All right, so
see if this science experiment works, Jeff.
When will he decide to start to roll? Certainly starting to build some speed. He wants to enter the rear chicane with a reasonable amount of speed. The whole key to it, though, is the speed you cover leaving the corner. All right, so you give up a little bit here, but right there, you need to be in the gas, coming to the alternate start-finish line. Let's see if this works.
What I want to talk about, Steve, is what's on the right-hand side of the screen. Look at all the playoff cars just sitting and waiting. I almost would rather have some clean racetrack, would you not? Or would you rather go out with all those cars who are sitting and there's, the clock's ticking down, under 13 minutes to go?
Well, there's more than enough track for all of them. I think they want to see what this experiment right here does. And, maybe they want to go out and kind of be on track together. Maybe your driver wants to chase somebody, have a little bit of pace.
I feel like Austin missed the start of the front chicane. That messed him up a little bit on the exit. Wasn't terrible.
I mean, considering they were almost 2 seconds off of the fast time in practice, they're at least in the game here, Jeff.
Yeah, remember, Chastain was the second car. He's the fastest that has gone out in this group. Oh no. We've seen this. This is something that Cindric is going to be so upset of himself about. We've seen qualifying be very difficult for this team for the last few weeks, and it's really set them back. I'm surprised he's not more than that off.
That was very impressive that as he basically was getting ready to spin it out, he just downshifted and gassed it up. Because I'm with you, Jeff. It could have very easily been way more time than this. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be really irritated because he's going to out-qualify them with basically spinning out on the chicane.
Yeah, exactly.
6th.
Yeah.
You take another look at that right here. It looks like he gets a little real wheel hop or lock up right here.
Yep, right rear, I believe. Right rear was sliding, most likely.
Yeah, I thought this car didn't really wheel hop as much.
Well, normally it doesn't, but back to their setups, right? The softer you get, the less controlled the tires are. So even if it starts to lock up, I don't think it's a wheel hop in its traditional sense of like drive shaft wrap up, but you can still get too much overstopping with the rear tires and they skip across the pavement. So you're right, Marty, it's not a wheel hop as we'd have seen in Xfinity or trucks, but it still kind of gets that porpoising or skipping across the racetrack.
Track getting a little bit busier. Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, and this car, Denny Hamlin, on the racetrack right now.
So Keselowski, his lap time. Watch this. It shows like he had a great turn, had a great chicane on the front stretch entrance. Well, that's why he had carried so much speed on corner entry, he barely made the exit.
Yeah. So Denny Hamlin applying what Ty Gibbs did earlier, Steve, kind of taking it easy. 3/4 of the lap. Crossing the oval start-finish line. We'll see what he can do with the rest of his lap.
I tell you where the 54 seems to be pretty good is from 5, 6, and 7. So let's see right here, Hamlin, right? He's gaining some time, but now he comes into 5 and 6, this hill area, kind of climbing the hill, gains time, and then right here is where I thought the 54 was the best. Denny matches it, though.
Yeah. Decent lap going for Hamlin. See what he does with turn 7 here, where Austin Cindric had his issues.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Good.
Yep.
Looked like it got tight through the middle and a little straight on exit.
Chris Gale watches on as Brad Keselowski goes 9th.
Which I'm going to tell you, when I said not good, I thought it was more painful than that. Hamlin has gained some time back.
Oh, a lot of curve. Just a little too much curve there. That was a big loss in speed.
Hamlin crosses the start-finish line in 4th.
Watch this. So right there, it's in the air, but watch when it lands. Now he's out of position.
Yeah.
Right? He had to catch the car.
Landed so hard it popped the left front up, Jeff.
So it aims, when it lands, he's aimed in the wrong direction. Right? Lands, right? And right there, he had to correct the car, and that just got him not where he wanted to be.
Yeah, behind him on the track, Chris Buescher with a very nice lap. He goes to 2nd quickest, but still 3/10 behind Ty Gibbs. As we're right on board with William Byron, you thought he was in the game with SVG on long run speed. How can you do on the short run here in qualifying?
Well, I think this is going to be really the unknown, because I'm not sure the long run speed is indicative at all about what somebody can do in the short run. So who can make the best adjustments? I think you need something totally different for one lap. So how much can you crutch it, adjust it, get the air pressures right, or maybe even the driving style?
Thanks to Valvoline for this terrific onboard look for a lap at the Roval.
They are ginger on the gas right there.
Man.
Look at his eyes. He's looking, think about this, he's looking where he needs to go, right? Like right now he's looking at the corner. See, his eyes are over at the corner. He's not looking down the straight. Now to the right, looking for the corner. Where do I put my right side tires? Now watch his eyes. He's going to go to the left. See, he's looking where he wants to go. He knows he's picking a spot. I got to get my left front tire there.
McDowell looking really good. Bottom of your screen. Been flirting with the green. How does he do through turn 7?
Missed that corner.
Yeah, he did. Loses a lot of time off turn 7. And the track getting really busy. About 5 cars just came off pit road altogether as we stay on board with William Byron here.
See William not running the apron.
I like that call after seeing the one's big slide.
Yeah, smart move.
5th for Byron.
Yeah, good lap. See where Michael McDowell winds up.
It's going to be a good lap.
Yeah, Michael's going to wish he could have had the hairpin over again. I think that's kind of where it went away for him.
3rd overall for McDowell. Looks like Byron's going to stay on it here for a 2nd lap.
Yeah, with only 6 minutes left to go, not much choice. May as well just run it.
Bell behind him on the racetrack. You see 2 tenths in the green. Too much, so it's giving up too much speed. He's going to quit this lap.
Bell in the green, SVG in the green as well.
A lot of green on the board here.
Yep. Turn 7's been the problem for everyone. Let's see what Bell can do, Steve.
Ty Gibbs, oh boy.
Oh, man.
Boy. Bell with the big rear slide, much like we saw out of the 2 of Cindric, is just going to kill the time on the 20.
What do you want me to do?
And here comes SVG to the same exact spot, bottom of your screen.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'll tell you what to do. Keep running.
Yeah, really.
SVG is trying to set a target for everyone, but he missed that corner. 3 tenths.
Gingerly through there, and even he loses time through turn 7.
Bell's going to be furious with that corner when he sees how close this lap still is. I'm sure he thinks he's a 2nd off. And the 88, barring a disaster in the chicane, I think he has a great shot.
So Joe Logano right now, about 7 tenths off.
Clean through the backstretch chicane for SVG, trying to get another pole at a road course. Runs the apron, he'll do it. He's to the top so far with a 25.97 on board with Bubba Wallace as SVG gives up that front stretch chicane to let Wallace through.
Logano 12th.
I think that works for Logano.
Yes.
Chastain 7th, him in 12th. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's way better than what we thought in practice.
Listen to how patient they have to be. That section of the racetrack.
This is lap 2 for Bubba Wallace.
How about Larson? He's got a shot.
Yeah. Lap 1 for Kyle Larson. Now we jump to Chase Briscoe, going through treacherous turn 2 on his first lap of the day in qualifying.
I will say, as we watch this 5 car comparing to SVG, he gave some back in the chicane. So I think if he can just be within a couple tenths, it's a real argument that it can be made up. Remember, he also gave some back in this hairpin. So let's see if Larson can gain right here in this hairpin. Yeah, there you go. Trending the right way, down to a tenth. Back to 2 tenths.
Just couldn't roll the middle well, but just could not carry speed on exit.
Can he find it down here, though? The 88 just didn't have a backstretch chicane that he needed. He had great entry speed, so he could track the wrong way early, but he couldn't get off the corner. So I expect the 5 to be able to come back on corner exit. There it is. There's a 10th.
Comes back a little bit, but not going to be enough to catch SVG. Larson to 3rd.
And Elliott right now is probably him and Blaney. Although Briscoe also
7th.
Yeah, Briscoe 7th on that first lap. Going to run a 2nd lap for Chase Briscoe. Remember the last road course, Ryan Blaney was on the pole at Watkins Glen. Doesn't seem to have the speed to be able to do that today. Oh, lock up in 7.
Look how far the left front tire is turned trying to get that corner.
Don't look now, but I think SVG has a chance to match his lap. Oh, he's losing a little bit. Reddick
Losing a little bit of
whole
time,
lap
yeah.
to go.
But it just goes to show you, even SVG, who's so good at taking care of the tires, he's having a tough time on that second lap. Blaney winds up 10th.
That keeps moving Logano down. He's down to 16th now.
Yeah, fill in between him because Chastain's not moving as much, to your point.
Chase Elliott just went 14th.
Reddick with a shot here, under a 10th.
Man, what would a pole do for this 45 team in the situation they are, all the way down there at minus 29? You think that's a must win? I think it's a must win, but if you can sit on the pole and maybe win stage 1 and get 10 points, then that 29 can turn into 19, right? Instantly if the other cars can't.
He's got a shot, Jeff.
Wow.
Look at that.
You almost want to get on the radio and say, hey, be smooth here.
He's stacking on the speed.
All right, good entry. Oh, he's got it. He's going to have it.
So good on corner exit.
And he doesn't run the apron.
How about that? Tyler Reddick to the top. Yeah, and you can see the excitement and the relief.
Yes,
taking
both.
A deep breath.
Both excitement and relief.
Here he was going through the bus stop, Steve.
Big shot on the curb, but like we've seen with other cars, not a huge correction. Little bit of one.
I think when he landed, Jeff, it was pointed the right direction, unlike Denny Hamlin, who was kind of pointed the wrong direction when the car landed.
Yeah, that's the key to it. I don't know how you do that, but
intentionally, you take credit for it as a driver, right?
There's Chastain trying to improve his lap.
And has room to do it, right? 26.6 to a 25.9. So he's currently about 7/10 off. So if you look at that 7/10, he needs to gain some back. If he could be, say, a half a second off, that would move him up 4 or 5 spots.
All cars on the track can complete their lap for an official lap.
It's going to be hard for Chastain to make up time on Reddick right here.
It's pretty smooth there.
But can he improve from 10th? That's the question. Man, an absolute handful. He's going to stay 10th.
He was only a 10th of a second off on that second lap, but Chastain at 10th. Logano at 17th, advantage Chastain.
Absolutely.
Chris Buescher stays 5th.
Cindric looking for an improvement. He's going to finish his lap right now.
And he will not improve. He will start 19th, and Joey Logano will start 17th. But Tyler Reddick is on the pole. High fives all around for 23XI Racing. In a must-win scenario, which they admit it is, Tyler Reddick picks a good time to get a second pole of the year. His last pole was Coda earlier in the year. Had a great run there. Had a miraculous run here last year. Remember that wreck he got in? Barely made it into the round of 8, but tonight or today he's on the pole for a very critical race, Mamba.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick, round of applause from all his guys. Handshakes for everybody. Can't pick a better time to get it done. Tyler, pressure's on, back against the wall, and you give your team an opportunity to go get it done tomorrow. What do you think about this 45 crew?
Yeah, just incredible effort by this team. I mean, this has been a track that we've been pretty strong at, and, you know, the tire's a lot different, obviously, as we saw today. So just really proud of this Jordan Wings Toyota Camry. I mean, it's been a difficult week, and yeah, it's nice we got the job done today. We obviously have some work to do tomorrow, but we did a good job of getting the track position. So yeah, I'll try and keep Shane behind me and see if we can't get it done tomorrow.
You talk about keeping SVG behind you. What do you think you need out of this 45 Camry to do that?
Well, I need a little bit. We're gonna have to find it. But I believe in my group. I believe in my team. We'll just go to work on it tonight. It was nice that the qualifying pace was able to find a little bit more there after practice. And yeah, I think for us, we just we gotta think about what we need to improve our long run. And obviously, the entire garage is gonna be seeing what Shane did in practice. So we'll be one of them.
Tyler Reddick will be on the pole. Marty, you can tell he is locked in. They're trying to find a little bit more to keep SVG behind him.
Tell you what, Steve, I think this creates a very interesting situation for that 45 team. Now starting on the pole, you mentioned it. Does that change the game for Billy Scott and how he approaches the race tomorrow?
Oh, I take points when I can. If I can win stage one, I win stage one and then worry about it in stage two. I think you have to do it. He's going to have to outrun that 88, though. SVG, talk of the garage area in practice. Has that front row starting spot. Larson, Busher, all the guys we thought were good. Bell's another one, had decent long run speed. But Chastain, you said back there in row 5, currently has the advantage over Logano, who he's trying to chase down in points.
Half of the top 10 are non-playoff drivers. They will play a role in this race. You see Logano, Cindric, back road 9, 10. They have some ground to make up. Chase Elliott, he's all good after last week. Just wants a good, strong run.
Kyle Busch has been so strong, Steve, on the road courses this year, but starts deep in the field in 28.
Yeah, really. When I look at the playoff drivers who came in with a little bit of a points cushion, they all qualified up inside the top 15. That's going to help them as well. These cars back here, Eric Jones didn't get to make a lap with that steering issue, so we'll just have to see if the 43 can get repairs. Tough day for Legacy Motor Club back there in row 18 and 19.
Well, Jeff, what a crazy day of practice here from the ROVAL. The ROVAL never disappoints with chaos, does it?
Yeah, these teams and drivers do not know what to expect coming into this racetrack.